this panel discussion, the theme is AI in Moodle, Transformative Teaching Technologies. So each guest speaker will have approximately 10 minutes to present their insights, followed by a Q&A session and an open forum with our audience. We have a moderator in the person of Ms. Gretchen Veran and two esteemed panelists. Our first panelist, Dr. Reynald Pugoy, is an associate professor at the University of the Philippines Open University and the current director of the UPOU ICT Development Office. He joined the faculty in 2015 and mostly teaches graduate courses on programming languages and artificial intelligence. Dr. Pugoy holds a Bachelor of Science and Master of Science in Computer Science from the University of the Philippines, Los Baños. He earned his PhD in Computer Science and Information Engineering from the National Cheng Kung University in Tainan City, Taiwan, supported by the Taiwan Ministry of Education Scholarship Award. He furthers his expertise with a research fellowship at the Anadolu University in Turkey, completed in October 2023. An active researcher in distance e-learning and artificial intelligence, Dr. Pugoy's work has been published and presented in top academic journals and conferences. His research interests include natural language processing, machine learning, recommender systems, learning management systems, and AI in education. His notable awards include the 2017 UPOU Gawad Chancellor for Outstanding Faculty, the 2017 Asian Association of Open Universities Young Innovators Award, where he received the gold medal, and the first prize for Best Moodle Innovation at Moodlemoot Japan 2024, and the Best Paper Award at the 24th Philippine Computing Science Congress. So that is our first panelist. For our second panelist, it is Mr. June Pataleta. He is a Moodle HQ integration lead for Moodle LMS. He is mainly responsible for Moodle LMS integration and release processes, ensuring that the upcoming Moodle versions are released in the best quality and as scheduled. He leads a group of senior HQ developers called integrators who perform a final review of code contributions to Moodle LMS. Integrators ensure that bug fixes, improvements, and new feature contributions are safe and are in the best form before being integrated into the Moodle LMS codebase. Aside from integration duties, June is also passionate about accessibility. He actively participates in the accessibility initiatives for Moodle LMS, especially in resolving and fixing accessibility issues identified from Moodle LMS regular accessibility audits. June holds a Bachelor of Science in Applied Physics from the University of the Philippines and taught college algebra and physics at Mindoro State University. He eventually shifted to a career in software development in 2006 through UP Information Technology Training Center's Certificate in Information Training Technology program. After more than 7 years of experience working in software development in the Philippines and Japan, June moved in 2015 to Perth, Western Australia, where he eventually joined Moodle HQ. Our panel moderator for today is Marketing and Innovations Advocate who is fueled by her relentless pursuit of growth, bias for execution, and passion for educating MSMEs and mission-driven organizations. She has been collaborating with Nifila since 2014 and continues to be deeply honored to be given the privilege to do so. While she's marketing strategist by profession, she believes that she is really a teacher by heart, and she is beyond thrilled to be speaking with fellow passionate educators today. So without further ado, let's welcome our moderator, Ms. Gretchen Veran, our panelists, Dr. Reynald Pugoy and Mr. June Pataleta.
Hello. Okay, I think it's working. I hope I work also. Okay, good afternoon everyone. Again, this is as obvious as it may seem, and I think you hope. This is the last part for today, and usually we look forward to happy endings, right? So I hope that we'll be able to provide you not just a happy ending, but a meaningful ending to this first day of the Congress. Yesterday was the workshop. And we're actually in for a triple treat. Can you tell the person beside you, triple treat? Triple treat! It's like trick or treat, right? Alright, so the first part of our triple treat is a series of presentations. So when we say series, there's actually just two, his and his. And then the second part of our triple treat is a group conversation with me, the three of us here. And the third part of the triple treat is an open forum with all of you. So let's begin with the first part of the triple treat. That is the presentation of Dr. Reynald Pugoy.
Hello.
We'll step aside first so that you can see his full slides.
All right, so much for being the ICT director. Right. It really happens to anyone encountering whatever errors or issues or bugs. So again, I thank you for inviting me here, and I consider this a privilege and an honor to be talking about AI. And again, I'm Dr. Reynald Pugoy. I'm from the UP Open University, and I figured that most of the talks here would be about the positive benefits about the utilization of AI in education, right? So I'd like to be on the other side to balance things out. Let me be the devil's advocate here. Okay, let me make myself clear. Of course, I'm not against AI. I like to use AI. And in fact, my PhD has something to do with AI. And I am for AI as long as we can use AI in a more responsible manner. And I say that in order for us to have a better understanding of how we can further utilize AI, then let's talk about this, from hype to hazard, the hidden consequences of AI use in education. And right now we are witnessing the convergence of AI with virtually every aspect of our lives. And according to this online survey, given to about 20,000 respondents, they indicated that the field to be most likely affected by the rise of AI would be education, with about, I hope you can see, oh, it's quite big, about 35% of the respondents indicating such. And just to make sure that we are all on the same page as far as AI is concerned, because there are so many terminologies that we are hearing these days, like AI, Gen AI, LLMs, or the large language models. Again, the biggest umbrella is AI. AI has so many subfields. One of those is Gen AI, or generative AI. And even under generative AI, we have the large language models, which I'm pretty sure, can I see a raise of hands? It's okay, to be honest, who amongst you have used ChatGPT or any LLM? Majority, probably about 90%. Thank you for the raising of your hands. Yeah, so just to make sure, they are not synonymous, we can say that LLMs are the grandchildren of AI. And before I would talk about the hidden consequences, let's talk quickly about the theory behind LLMs. ChatGPT and the other large language models, they are accurate because they are trained on a ginormous amount of training data, primarily gathered from all across the World Wide Web. Sure, it can understand language, but its way of understanding is very different from how we do understand. Because its understanding is derived from statistics, finding statistical patterns and relationships between words, sentences, and phrases. So I'd say that it's ridiculous whenever I hear people saying AI has feelings, AI has emotions. It's just statistics performed on a larger scale. And quickly, LLM stands for Large Language Model. Let's take the last two letters, LM, language modeling. It's just a complicated word for guessing the next word. Imagine that AI is like that computer program that is programmed to learn upon exposure to billions of data. Again, ginormous. I'm not using the word large. I'm using the word ginormous because it's really that ginormous amount of data. So that given a sequence of words, AI can guess the next word based on a probability distribution of possible words learned during training. You do this, again, using billions of data and do that exposure for trillions of times. How can it not get accurate with that? As a quick example, let's say the center of the solar system is the blank. The AI, or the language model, has to correctly supply the answer, the one with the high probability, which is, let's say, for example, the sun, with about 95% probability. That's why LLMs are also referred as autocomplete on steroids. It's just like your autocomplete in your mobile phone's keywords. Not that different. Yeah, if we think about it, it's not really that intelligent. And yeah, for sure, we have so many uses of AI or large language models in education. I'm just quickly enumerate them. We can generate, sure, course outlines, generate lesson plans, create assessments, evaluate the works of our students, even involve it to sharpen our research questions. Quickly, sample course outline for Moodle for Teachers 101, and a sample checking of the essay on a scale of 1 to 10, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to emphasize here 3 points. Surely, AI can generate valuable outputs, but we have to remember that human expertise and critical thinking are still essential to evaluate and refine those AI-driven outputs. They are not gospel truths. We have to consider AI providing suggestions as a starting point and not the final word. While AI can increase our work efficiencies, we should treat it as our assistant and not as our replacement, if you will. We have to verify, we have to always review and validate the content given by AI to ensure accuracy. Why so? Because no AI is actually 100% accurate. Now, let's go to, that's only the introduction. Let us go quickly through to the consequences of the use of AI in education. Yeah, there are so many things I can talk about, but I'll select the top 3 personally. Consequences or issues, hallucination, biases and discrimination, and data privacy, which I believe was tackled in a separate data privacy session. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you have an idea about data privacy. I'm gonna spend quite some time when it comes to hallucination. Hallucination is just your complicated word for making up facts. Yeah, for sure. Whenever we deal with brainstorming, creative writing, writing short stories or novels, or generating content that invokes our imagination, that is totally fine. After all, we have to fabricate something so that we can produce something that is a product of our imagination. That's fine. However, when we are dealing with factual content, like doing a Q&A or performing research, we gotta exercise more caution. If you will, let's be skeptical of AI-generated information and always verify facts using reliable sources. I hope you can see, well, it's behind me. I asked, this one is ChatGPT 4.0, who is the 10th Chancellor of UPOU? It supplied me, the 10th Chancellor of UPOU is Dr. Melinda Bandelaria. But the thing is, we only have 4 chancellors so far. Why is it talking about the 10th chancellor? That is hallucination already. Another quick example, who are the deans of UPOU? UPOU only has 3 faculties. The 4th one, the Faculty of Computer Studies, it is not existing. Again, fabrication, hallucination, we only have the 1st grade. So I don't know why is it telling me that there's a 4th faculty. Again, we gotta be careful when it comes to hallucination. AI can be confidently wrong and deceptively convincing. It's just like your Marites in the canto, right? You ask him to tell you something. He or she can fabricate something. To the foreigners, how do I say it? What is a Marites in English? Someone who likes to gossip. Yeah, right? Yeah, someone who loves rather to gossip. Yeah, gossipers are deceptively convincing and confidently wrong. Going back, AI can generate, here's the thing, authoritative, plausible sounding, and grammatically correct statements, but the content is actually wrong. And the hallucinations can range from minor inconsistencies to completely fabricated, contradictory, or even dangerous statements. Quickly, ChatGPT and the other large language models don't actually know what they are saying. They know what an answer should look like, they know what an answer should sound like, but they are incapable of true reasoning or understanding like humans. That's why they are also referred as stochastic parrots. Again, the understanding is only based on large-scale statistics. So please don't tell me that AI is emotional. It's no different from saying that probability distributions are emotional as well. Next issue would be biases and discrimination. Here's the thing. Whatever is in the training data set, the AI model will inherit those attributes, including biases. Because the sources of the training data come from across different web sources, we can have various types of biases: social, cultural, societal, political, religious, or even gender-based biases. Again, if the data set contains biases, then the AI model is biased as well. And we know that most of the AI systems are Western creations, so don't be surprised if it reflects a more Western perspective, because we can imagine predominantly Western data were fed to these AI systems. A quick example, what are the 2 best utensils to use to eat? For Filipinos, what is the answer? Spoon and fork. But the answer of this one is Gemini, fork and knife. Or for Chinese or Taiwanese or Korean, it would be the chopsticks, right? So this one, obviously, it's biased. And another one would be data privacy. Have you heard of the expression, data is the new oil?
Yes.
Data is the new oil. And these AI systems would necessitate vast amounts or ginormous amounts of data, unfortunately, which may include sensitive personal information. Okay, I have a question. You don't need to raise your hand so that you won't be judged. Who among you have used this AI yearbook app last year? You don't need to raise your hands. Here's the thing. When this came up, first thought in my head, anyone who uses this so-called AI yearbook app is providing his or her own image on a silver platter as training data for the creators of this AI yearbook app for free. Here's the thing. Ask yourself, do we want our personal data to be used without our explicit consent, potentially contributing to AI systems that may misuse our data that may not align with our interests? Do we want our data to be just used for free, just offering them on a silver platter? And as individuals, these are the things that what we can do. First, we gotta think before you share. Have you heard of the expression, whatever goes online stays online? And we also gotta strengthen or review the privacy settings if ever we are using social media apps. And quick example, I know I'm approaching the 15-minute mark of my presentation. Do not supply any personal information as part of the prompt of the large language model. Compare these two. Let's say you are sad, you want to write, a heartbroken letter, and then you told Gemini, my girlfriend Sakura Lee has just left me. Give me a letter to respond to her. You don't need to tell the large language model that your girlfriend's name is Sakura Lee. So if you want to still write this letter, then do it in a more third-person view. Like someone is sad, the girlfriend left him, give a letter to respond to her, and then it will give you the placeholders and then just replace the placeholders with whatever information you might want. Okay, I'm approaching the end of my presentation. AI is simply a tool. It depends on the person using it. While we are embracing the learning opportunities that AI can offer to us, we have to be aware of its pitfalls, teaching our various stakeholders to approach AI with a more critical eye. And it is up to our respective academic freedoms how we are going to employ AI in our various setups. And final reminders, AI can always hallucinate. We gotta always exercise caution. Employing any AI tool should always be done with human oversight and guidance. And do not listen to the doomsayers. The Terminator is extremely unlikely to come. Because of the depictions in science fiction, right? We have to be more educated, more informed about AI. Therefore, we must resist cynicism and fear about AI by being educated about it. After all, knowledge is power. And with that, I thank you all for listening to me. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Dr. Reynald. We will step aside for the moment to give way to the presentation of Mr. June Cataleta from the headquarters of Moodle, and we will continue the conversation right after that.
Yan yung route nila. Kumain na, yung binasasap mo. Bukas na naman. Dalawa naman. Teka, kasali ba? Solo siya. Solo ka, JJ. Why do you like portrait ka mo?
Thanks for that very informative talk, Dr. Budoy. Excellent.
Saga mo, Jay. Saga mo. Saga mo.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So, good afternoon everyone. I'm June Patoleta from Moodle HQ, and I would like to present my AI in Moodle. Cool. So, at Moodle HQ, we believe that artificial intelligence, or AI, has the potential to transform not just the future of online learning, but also the future of education in general by innovating and reshaping teaching and learning practices. While we are excited about AI's positive impact on education, we also recognize the potential risks associated with this technology. That's why Moodle is committed to a human approach, a human-centered approach to AI. So we, guided by this vision of a human-centered approach to AI, we have crafted AI principles that govern our approach to AI, such as transparency. We should always know when AI is being used during learning or teaching activities. Configurability, where institutions, organizations, and learners must always have a choice to decide which AI capabilities they want to enable and use. Data protection. Moodle is committed to privacy and data security, and this commitment extends to the AI capabilities we will create in Moodle. Equality, we actively support using AI tools to create an inclusive and accessible environment that fosters learning experiences for all without discrimination. Ethical practice, we are strong advocates for the ethical use of AI globally. And education, we promote best practices for using AI tools and to help us adapt to the evolving AI regulatory and social landscape. We continuously track the work of other bodies such as the EU AI Act, as mentioned by Matt earlier, the OECD AI principles, the NIST AI risk management framework. And we also take a research-driven approach to incorporating AI features in Moodle. So in 2023, last year, the Moodle Research Lab, headed by Martin Lucianas, conducted a community survey, or a series of community surveys about AI in Moodle. So we published the summaries of these survey results in last year as well. So we identified several key areas of AI that can contribute to effective learning. First, AI can be used to unburden teachers of boring repetitive tasks, facilitate building creative and engaging courses, improve the accessibility and accommodate the learning differences, provide personalized support through a learning assistant, increase efficiency in course creation through a teacher's assistant, and save time with auto creation of quizzes and assessments. We also recognize some potential areas of concern regarding the use of AI in education. So, this is one, just like what Dr. Pugoy mentioned earlier, one area of concern involves the risk of for plausible but false content, hallucination. So being generated by AI tools. So AI tools basically have a risk of producing biased output that can lead to harmful outcomes. Moodle recommends human evaluation of the quality of AI-driven output. We have to be critical, just like Dr. Pugoy said. There's also a potential risk of private data being made public when using AI tools. So we need to ensure that capabilities are transparent so that the users know when AI is being used and configurable so that organizations, institutions, and users can decide which AI capabilities to enable or models to use. So what's the current state of AI in Moodle? We don't have generative AI yet. Like Matt mentioned, we will be developing this via the AI subsystem for Moodle 4.5. But at the moment, we have the Moodle Analytics API, or Core Analytics, that provides predictive analytics capabilities using machine learning. And we have several built-in models. For example, such as identifying students who may be at risk of dropping out, students who haven't accessed the course recently, students that access. Yeah. So basically, the Moodle Analytics API also support for creating custom models and indicators. And this is powered by a machine learning backend. Sites can opt to use the PHP backend, which is built-in, or you can use the Python Moodle backend, called the Moodle ML backend. Okay, so we also have Moodle AI certified app. We also have Moodle certified integrations that provide services or plugins in Moodle were powered by AI, such as Moodle, WinSpeaker, or Estride. And while we don't have ability support for Gen AI yet, we already have like Gen AI Moodle plugins, like chat, or content generators, content checkers, and utilities. So what's next for AI in Moodle? Of course, like Matt already mentioned earlier, we are developing the Moodle AI subsystem, which is to super simplify it. It's like a front end, has a front end part that will provide a consistent and user-friendly experience for users to interact with AI Moodle, and a backend that will provide a straightforward integration with various AI providers. So, as mentioned earlier, this will be initially implemented for Moodle 4.5, which is scheduled to be released in October 2024. And yeah, for more updates and discussions about AI in Moodle, please feel free to join. The Moodle Research Lab in this slide. Sorry. Yeah, and further readings, check them out. That's it. Thank you.
Alright, thank you very much, Sir Jude. And may we now call back on stage Dr. Ray, so that we will now be able to proceed to the second part of our triple treat. Sir Jude, you may sit here. I'll just sit there. Alright. So we said earlier that we'll end this day with a triple treat. We apologize for the salty part of our triple treat earlier. The technical stuff has been a little bit salty, but we will try to end this sweetly. Okay, so as I said earlier, the first part is the individual presentation of our two esteemed gentlemen here in front. And the second part is this group conversation facilitated by yours truly. And later, we will also, of course, include you in the conversation because you have endured and enjoyed until this end, so you might as well be part of it, right? Alright, so it says here that the first question is for them to introduce themselves, but I think there'd be no need because they were already introduced and they already shared their piece. So I'll proceed to the next part already, which is about understanding AI integration in Moodle. So the theme of this year's conference is AI in Moodle Transformative Teaching Technologies. So my first question is addressed to Mr. June. What do you think are from your perspective, the primary advantages of integrating AI into educational environments like Moodle?
Yeah, I believe that AI tools in educational environments like Moodle have the potential to transform the way we teach or learn online, like I mentioned earlier. AI tools can relieve teachers of tedious, repetitive administrative tasks, such as grading their students' work and creating content for assessment. Of course, like Dr. Pugoy mentioned earlier, it's just a starting point. We still need to provide human evaluation of that the content generated by AI for assessing our students' work. And in Moodle, the power of machine learning through the Analytics API can also be used to get insights from the course or its participants and notify teachers or learners about essential information related to the course or its participants. For example, the Analytics API can help teachers identify students in the course who may be at risk of falling behind and enable them to take preemptive actions to help those students or reach out to those students. For learners, AI tools can help generate content for their work. Of course, such as images for the reports, or even check their work for grammar, spelling mistakes, and help them rewrite it more clearly. Of course, they should not just rely on the output of the AI and then paste it on their work, for their work. Gen AI tools can also help transform course content into simpler, easier to understand forms, making content more accessible and accommodating learning differences. Thank you.
I pick up two things from what you shared, sir. You mentioned earlier that it helps teachers and administrators remove or we could say maybe delegate the repetitive tasks. So I think that gives them better use of their time. That's one advantage. And the other thing you shared is that through the analytics built inside of the learning management system that we're using, the teachers and the learning facilitators are better informed. Like they know better whose student is most likely to do this, to fail, to succeed. I mean, at least within the context of the course, right? So better use of time and also be better informed. That's what I pick up from what you shared as the advantages, right? And this next question is addressed to Dr. Ray. You as a practitioner, as a professor, and also as part of the UP Open University, can you provide examples of where AI integration in Moodle has truly transformed traditional educational practices?
All right. So thank you for the question. I'm thinking one of those instances, again, transforming our traditional practices. I like to cite one of our products, if you will, not really product, but one of our system, a chatbot actually, which we have integrated in our Moodle instance for massive open online courses. Yeah, and it was mentioned earlier, this was presented in Moodlemoot Japan just earlier this year, and fortunately we won something.
Wow.
Yeah, that chatbot that we integrated. Because here's the thing, for massive open online courses, we have a total of about 370,000 learners or students. And we receive inquiries like hundreds, not only hundreds, but sometimes thousands per day. And we only have a limited manpower, like less than 10 who are assigned to answer inquiries. So if we're gonna stick to the traditional way of doing things, it's just too laborious, it's too cumbersome. It's gonna take a lot of time even before even the student or the learner can receive the answer to the question. So I'd say that this chatbot, which we have integrated into our Moodle instance for MOOCs, well, you can access it at model.upou.edu.ph. It really relieves us, the IT people, of so much burden, and at the same time, the students or the learners are happy because they receive the answers to the inquiries on a more timely manner.
That's great. What I hear from that is that it's not just transforming the way it is from the educational institution side, but also on the learner side, because that means you're now able to provide, in a way we could say, better service. Because before, you'll have to wait for one of those 10 customer service representatives to be available to attend to you. But now, because you have built this AI, which won an award, the chatbot, that can answer to the repetitive inquiries, then that gives better service to the, how many again, sir?
370,000 current users.
Of UPOU?
Yeah.
Worldwide, that is, right?
Yeah, worldwide.
Wow. All right. So now, after that basic like appreciation of how the integration of AI is bettering our systems, now we try to proceed to the current state. So for both of you, can you also share an example where AI and Moodle has really significantly improved learning outcomes specifically, or operational efficiency, as what Dr. Ray shared earlier with regards to being able to respond more promptly. But I guess also for Sir June, you have an instance that you could share where it has improved the learning outcome.
Yeah, I think Dr. was answers already enough.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, of course, the Moodle research that conducted surveys last year, and even this year, And then from the results, we received the following responses about their use of Gen AI. For example, helping the teachers create quiz questions or get recommendations about feedback they can provide to their students, modifying content to be more accessible and inclusive, help teachers in preparing their lessons, generating images for their course content. One respondent also noted that the use of AI in their institution is on a per teacher basis. It depends on the teacher basically, if they want to use AI for their course. Overall, my impression is that institutions are in the early stages of adopting AI. However, things may have changed since the survey was conducted months ago. Yeah, and I think it's also not worth noting that it's not clear from the study whether the use of AI is based within Moodle itself or using the plugins with AI functionality.
Yeah, I appreciated that you drew from the results of a survey, because that means this is not just like a personal opinion. This is something that we derived from multiple responses from teachers. And again, if we look at the general theme of their responses, I think they really always go back to saving time. I also know a few teachers, real teachers, who say that, you say that teachers go to school, report for duty from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. But the reality is, I'm not really a professional teacher myself, but this is what I always hear from my teacher friends. That's just contact time. Do you agree? Because after that 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., that's where you deal with the repetitive, to borrow his term, ginormous. How do you say it again? Ginormous amount of admin stuff that the teachers have to do beyond the 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Do we have teachers in the house who bring home their repetitive tasks? I think they're very silent because their husbands are already angry about it. Okay. Alright, so since you already shared earlier about the chatbot increasing the operational efficiency in terms of better response, I guess that's about it. But again, this other question, since Dr. Ray is the one who's really in touch with students coming from the academe, in terms of student engagement and learning outcomes, what are some noticeable differences when AI tools are utilized in Moodle courses, as what you have observed?
Well, I'd like to answer that with another question, because of course the expected answer to that question would be increased student motivation, better performances, what else? Things like those. And it's so easy to say with our manual eyeball observation, it's this or it's that. And related to what Sir Jun mentioned earlier, how about personally, or not personally, but institutionally, in our respective schools, colleges, institutions, we conduct our studies, respective studies, to really find out, is there really a statistically difference regarding the utilization of these AI tools in your respective setups, respective classrooms. Yeah, and with that, I'm giving you an idea already. You can present that next year here in this Moodlemoot Philippines conference, right? Let's just keep the conversation going on. Yeah, so that, my point is, it is more desirable to have results or observations based on empirical evidences.
I agree. Yeah, there's still a lot to uncover with regards to how this will really affect our the end users, the learners, and also the community that they impact. Now this question goes to Sir Jun, coming from Moodle headquarters and being the integration lead. since you have a wider experience with regards to the different scenarios of how Moodle is being used, how do you see educators generally responding to the adoption of AI tools in Moodle? And also, what training or support do they usually require from you to effectively use these technologies?
I'm not sure if that's, I have a very wide experience with various use cases of Moodle, but because yeah, I'm more focused on the development. To be honest, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I will be basing my answer based on the study that was conducted by the Moodle Research Lab. And so, about 90% of the respondents have a positive outlook about the use of AI. I'd like to think that educators in general would have a positive response and be interested in using AI tools in Moodle. In terms of training and support, I believe it is imperative for everyone interested in trying AI tools to learn about the responsible and ethical use of AI.
Right. So I also like that you mentioned it's more of the training on the responsible and ethical use, but not training on the use itself. Because these tools are self-explanatory, right? Nobody has to train you. How do you use ChatGPT? Because you can just type, how do I use you? Right? So it's more of how do you use this responsibly? It's not really how do I use this, right? So I guess that speaks about how intuitive and almost natural these tools come in for us. Right, so now we proceed to the second to the last part, where we try to deep dive into AI tools and implementation. So now we go to the challenge part. So as for you again, Sir June, what challenges do you usually face during the initial integration of these technologies into Moodle, and how do you usually address them?
So I'd like to answer in the context of the Analytics API when we developed this for Moodle 3.4 back in 2017. I wasn't directly involved in integrating this feature at that time or developing it, but I remember one of the initial challenges during the early stages of development is they needed training data to train the built-in models that would be included in the features initial release. But thankfully we received a huge amount of anonymized data from a university in Europe that helped us train these models. So yeah, and the catch though now is that the original developer of the Analytics API and the Python machine learning backend that we developed before has left Moodle. So the current challenge with the Analytics API is that we don't have anyone in HQ who fully understands it. So the development of improvements and new features for the Analytics API is kind of like in the deep end at the moment. So yeah, for the AI system, like Matt said earlier, the concept of providing a consistent and user-friendly means of setting up AI providers and placements within Moodle sounds simple, but there's a lot of things to consider under the hood, so that we ensure that we adhere to the AI principles and any legislation that will be finalized or developed.
I pick up from what you mentioned about one of the challenges that you remember is that when you were trying to put together the Analytics AI or API, you realized that you don't have that much data. And Dr. Ray also mentioned earlier about our use of the yearbook app, AI app. Now I realize, or the picture that I'm painting in I attended another session earlier with Miss Amor where she asked us to imagine certain scenarios. Now with all these inputs that I've listened to the entire day, I now imagine AI as these different tools like Bard or Gemini and ChatGPT. I now imagine them as different pets, and these pets feed on data. And whichever pet you feed with the ginormous amount of data that it needs, that's the tool that grows the most. So that means we should be very, very careful who we hand our data to, because I think it's like the keys to our house. You don't mind giving the keys to your house to your sibling or to your best friend, but if you are just going to come across a stranger and that stranger will ask for your keys, your house keys, will you just give it? You won't, right? And that, I think, is a good swing to the next question, which is, Dr. Ray, could you discuss any data privacy and ethical concerns when implementing AI in an educational setting like Moodle?
I'd like to believe that I covered, for the most part, in my earlier presentation. Again, just a reminder, the first issue would be hallucination. We gotta be careful. And we are like a broken record here on stage. Again, we gotta be critical thinkers. These days, don't believe anything that is provided by AI. We gotta keep our eyes. Yeah, just don't copy and paste, because I know other people will simply, okay, type the prompt, get the answer, copy, paste. No, that is not the correct way. Sure, copy, review, revise, and then paste. That is the better way. Another would be the biases and discrimination. I've shown you earlier that it depends again on the ginormous amounts of training data that we feed AI, or that is being fed to AI, and whatever biases are inherent in the data, then the AI model would inherit that. And again, don't be surprised if it sounds more Western than Asian or even Filipino. Unless we have our own Filipino AI chatbot model, then it would sound more Filipino. And I believe this has been covered by the other sessions regarding data privacy. It was mentioned earlier about the AI yearbook. Again, just don't provide our data freely. Like, just don't jump on the hype. Okay, AI yearbook, you become more handsome, pretty. Just don't bite the whatever is being pushed to us. Because again, you are providing your data on a silver platter. You are making the developers of this AI app so happy because they don't need to pay you to get your data. I hope that the creator of the AI yearbook app is not gonna run after me. But again, my point is there is no harm in being extremely careful these days, especially during these days where AI is rising and becoming more ubiquitous in every part of our human society.
Yeah, I remember there was also news before, and I think it's still a fact today, that Philippines is really one of the biggest users of social media. And there are a lot of social media features and functionalities that are first tested in the Philippines precisely because we are naturally happy to provide our data and use these platforms every day because we have so much time, right? Right? So I think that's something that I hope we also bring home with us from this day's session, that we be more critical thinkers, that we also encourage and inspire and inform our family members, our colleagues to be wiser and more prudent in using these tools, especially when they're entertaining, right? Because sometimes that's the bait. If it looks entertaining, we just give it, right? Because we were given the sign that we are now down to our last 5 minutes. I think we'll just jump to our last part, which is the concluding thoughts. This is the part where you say your parting words. We would like to ask both of our panelists, given everything that we discussed today and probably will also discuss tomorrow, what advice would you give to institutions that are hesitant to adopt AI technologies in their Moodle platform? So I think this is also connected to what you shared earlier, but for now I guess we will hear it from Sir June.
So for me, AI technologies in Moodle are just tools to help us in our learning or teaching journeys. And like any other tool, we have the choice to use it for the good of humanity. Of course, you have to be aware of its risks, so it doesn't get used for nefarious purposes. Yeah, that's why we at Moodle HQ are committed to a human-centered approach to AI that will provide a safe, transparent, and trustworthy platform for learners and educators when using AI technologies in Moodle.
That's true. And Dr. Ray?
I'd love to answer that question. Here's the thing. AI is here to stay. And what we can do right now is to learn to adopt and adapt and preach the responsible and safe use of AI. You know, the rise of AI, it's not that different when the first computers were created. Imagine there were oppositions because they were saying, okay, computers will take away jobs. But what happened? We learned to embrace computers. We can do this seminar, this conference. Computers are everywhere. Another thing, the internet. Yeah, way back in 1990s, I remember this news article about the internet saying that it's just a gimmick, a passing fad. But what happened? We cannot live without our mobile data, right? Again, we learn to adopt and adapt. We embrace the internet. Another example, graphing calculators. Imagine the math teachers would say, oh, the students will be what? I don't want to use the word stupid, but I already used that word. Or the students will not know how to do basic mathematics, arithmetic, so on and so forth. But again, we learn to adopt and adapt. We adjusted. We learn to embrace. If there's a will, there's a way. And as I mentioned, AI is here to stay. We just cannot resist AI. It's here. As the days go by, we're gonna keep on producing more and more data that is powering this AI. That's why that is my encouragement to everyone as far as AI is concerned.
That's right. And because we are now really down to our last minute. Oh, sorry. Before our last minute, I just have one final commercial. If you still haven't posted publicly, of course, with data privacy and stuff, this is with your consent. If you would post publicly on your social media account using hashtag MoodPH24 and maybe also even hashtag ginormous. If you would, then you may win a prize if our social media team sees your post about your experience for today. Please use hashtag MoodPH24. And to finally put the icing on top of our happy ending, this is where we ask our panelists for their one key takeaway that you hope the audience remembers from today's discussion about AI in Moodle and AI in education in general. So this is, I think, where you prepare your pen and paper, or just listen, maybe you have a good memory, so. Okay, let's hear it for from Sir Jude, sorry.
I like the sound of that.
Okay, Dr. Jude.
That's okay. Yeah, like Dr. Bugoy said, AI is already here. If you're already prepared for it, that's good. If not, you'd better start putting more thought into it. And as Matt said in his keynote speech this morning, AI is a tool, but not an answer in itself. It may have risks, but it can also transform and teaching and learning if you use it in an ethical and responsible manner. I thank you.
From Dr. Ray, thank you, Sir Jude.
I would imagine that most of the participants here are either educators or people in position, right? And I'd say that it is incumbent upon us to prepare our students, our colleagues, our various stakeholders in the post-AI world. Again, we're like a broken record. AI is here to stay. If we don't prepare our stakeholders in the post-AI world, how can they live in that kind of world? How can they interact with their surroundings? Yeah, I hope that is clear. That we have a duty, a responsibility, being people of position, being educators, teachers, professors, administrators, school presidents, so on and so forth, to do our part to prepare everyone in this AI-drowned world. Thank you. I thank you.
Yeah, in the end, we all want a better world, right? And that's actually actually what I would like to end with also. I mentioned that we want to end this day with a triple treat, starting from their presentations and then this conversation and then a forum. But it looks like your spouses are already calling you for dinner, so you need to go home. Oh, but okay, so we will entertain questions? Okay, so please ask your spouse to wait for 1 hour more because we will be entertaining 3 questions. Do we have questions from the floor? Okay, so we have one here and one there. Can we do ladies first? Alright. Sige po, please say your name and the institution or organization that you're representing and then your question.
Thank you. I'm Han, and when I'm Vietnamese, but now I'm working in France for a French company, and we work with Moodle. So it's not really a question, and really thank you for your talk, and I want to add something. We say a lot about how AI help learners, how AI help teachers, but I want to say that we should embrace also the help of AI for developers, because finally it's like behind the scene, there are a lot of Moodle developers. My team, the developers, and see with the use AI, they can develop very faster and cleaner. The plugin, the Moodle plugin, and yeah, I think that we need to say thank you for that too. And everyone should use AI as a very good tool to be more productive. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's the beauty of Moodle being an open source project. That means that thanks actually goes to all of you, all of us who are one way or another contributing to the growth of Moodle and AI in Moodle. So thank you. Alright, our next question.
Good afternoon once again. I'm Daniel from VSS Law Center. I want to go to the other side of the conversation. We've learned a lot about the school-based instructions, materials, designs, and so on. But there's a one facet of all of this that I have not heard since yesterday, and that is licensure examinations. My question is actually not a question direct to our panel, but more of a question that we can go outside of this hall and discuss, as this is ginormous. As from our experts, they say AI is here. My question is, how is the government taking AI in the formulation and the conduct of licensure examinations? Based on experience in the US during the pandemic, they allowed state bar examinations to be conducted remotely because of, face-to-face is not allowed. So they implemented AI using the Turnitin technology, which is the Examsoft or Exemplify, which is now copied by the Philippine Supreme Court in conducting the board exams. Now, do we have any not jurisprudence, but studies or legislation proposals on how the government agencies that are tasked to formulate and conduct examinations should deal with AI? And if so, since most of us are educators here, how should this be treated in our curriculum and in our program standards? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good question to ponder on. #PH government. I'm not part of the government, so I don't have a response to that, but I think some of you are here, so that question is for all of you. Alright. So, but yeah, is there another person who would like to ask a question? Okay, going. Just like to, okay.
Sorry, I would like to add a little comment about that. I think the DICT is establishing or has established guidelines on the use of AI. So hopefully that will follow for the licensure guidelines. So I think UP also has an AI policy that extends to UPOU as well. So we have the guidelines. The guidelines have started. So it's just a matter of fact.
Yeah, I'd like to add. You're well researched, sir. Yeah, so August of last year, the University of the Philippines system, again, we are a system of various constituent units, UP Diliman, UP Los Baños, so on and so forth. Yeah, we have or not me, but the Board of Regents approved the UP principles for responsible and trustworthy AI. And hopefully that can give you ideas or inspire some thoughts or motivations in your part. Again, that was August of last year, and earlier this year, UPOU, being a fully online university, to also cater to our own nuances, we have also formulated our own policies, which are, of course, observing the wider UP policy, but customized to our own use cases and own needs. And if you want to, look for more resources, the jurisprudence, did I use that word right? I'm not a lawyer, obviously. You can research on what is happening on Europe. I believe that they are pretty advanced in this field. Yeah, they are pretty advanced in this field. I just don't know the specifics, but that is a good starting place for you to look for. I hope that helps.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there are other countries that we can also learn a lot from, right? But also I'm not the panelist, I'm just a moderator here. But just to connect also to what you shared or asked, I saw a video recently. There's an educator that's being interviewed about she's a teacher, like a grade school teacher, and she was asked, how do you treat AI with regards to its use in your classroom? And then she said, a lot of teachers are so afraid of AI because there is really a valid reason to that. But what I do now, maybe this is something that you could also try to emulate or learn from. What she does, for example, for her health class, she would actually use ChatGPT in the classroom. She would ask ChatGPT, create a meal plan for a 12-year-old kid who only eats hot dog every day. So create a better meal plan. And then all her students are in front of her. So ChatGPT will generate an answer, and then she will ask her students to critique the answer of ChatGPT. Where do you think is ChatGPT right, and where do you think is ChatGPT wrong in his? What's the gender of ChatGPT in its answer to your question, right? So maybe that's another way to do it. I don't know. With licensure exams, it could become something like an extemporaneous speech thing where ChatGPT will generate its analysis to a certain jurisprudence, Your Honor, and then the person who's taking the exam could critique that response from ChatGPT.
Can I add something? Have you heard of the term natural legal language processing? Yeah, because I attended this conference and they have a workshop. It's quite interesting. It's the intersection of AI and law. Yeah, and that might be another good place for you to do your research.
Right. Okay, so I think this conversation can go on and on and on, and it should, but maybe not from here, because this will incur additional costs to this ballroom. So it's now time for us to thank each and every one of you. Thank you for staying with us, and we hope that today has been really transformative for each one of you. And I'd just like to leave this question to each one of us here. It's something that dawned on me earlier, and maybe a question that we could all take home. The central theme always is that AI saves us time, right? Instead of you checking your students' papers one by one, now AI does it for you. Instead of you creating a video of your onboarding for your HR system, now AI does it for you. Now my reflection question for all of us is, if and when you are already able to outsource all your mundane tasks to AI, what is left for you to do to continue living a meaningful life? Right? I think that's a question. Because when all is said and done, because we're just scratching the surface, I'm sure there are more things that will be automated. And when more and more things are already automated, what will be left for us to do to continue living a meaningful life? And that's something that I think we should all transform into living a more meaningful life using education as a platform with Moodle in it.
Gretchen Veran. At this point, I'd like to call on stage the Philip of Technology's President and CEO to present the Certificate of Appreciation to our panelists. So Moodlemoot Philippines 2024 presents this Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Reynald Pugoy and Mr. June Padaleta in grateful recognition for sharing their invaluable knowledge and experience to the participants of the Moodlemoot Philippines 2024. So thank you very much, sir. A round of applause, please, for Dr. Reynald Pugoy, Mr. June Padaleta, and Ms. Gretchen Veran. Thank you. So that concludes the panel discussion, but before